Lance Stroll is facing serious backlash after his actions in Barcelona, and there are now serious reports suggesting he may not participate in the sport any longer. In the ever-changing environment that is Formula One, could Lawrence Stroll finally come to his senses and pull the trigger on his son's career? More importantly, was Barcelona the final straw for Aston Martin's partners heading into the new 2026 era? There's no way around it. Lance Stroll's behavior is inexcusable and urgently needs to be addressed. The Canadian driver threw a tantrum after being knocked out in Q2, seemingly upset that he was half a second slower than his teammate Fernando Alonso, who made it to Q3 and went on to score points on Sunday. Although the incident itself hasn't been caught on camera, this isn't the first time we've seen Lance act out. In the 2023 season, he was seen damaging equipment and swearing at team members. While an official Aston Martin spokesperson hasn't commented directly on the situation, media reports confirm that Lance was visibly upset. Interestingly, he underwent wrist surgery shortly after the outburst in the garage. Although the team insists the two events aren't related, it's hard not to be skeptical. Lance demonstrated extreme dedication in 2023 by racing through pain after a bicycle accident, so it's doubtful he couldn't push through one more race before opting for surgery. Now he's in a questionable position for his home Grand Prix in Canada. If Stroll misses the Canadian GP, Formula 2 champion and Aston Martin reserve driver Filipe Drugovich will likely take his place and aim to score points from the start. Despite having responsibilities that same weekend at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, Felipe has stated that Formula One is his priority, and if he gets the chance, he will absolutely race. Imagine the motivation he'll have. It could be the only chance he gets to drive an F1 car. And just imagine the pressure Lance will be under if Felipe manages to score points. Yes, it's true that Lance scored all of Aston Martin's points prior to Barcelona this season, but that doesn't justify his recent behavior or his inconsistent performance over the past few years. Since entering the sport in 2017 with Williams, Lance's F1 career has been a roller coaster. A promising rookie season with 40 points and a podium in Baku made it seem like he was on an upward trajectory. Even Lawrence Stroll must know that success can't be achieved alone. That's why he brought in top-tier technical partners like Adrian Newey, Honda, Enrico Cardile, and Andy Cowell. These high-profile names didn't come to play games. They came to win championships. If they don't see results, they'll demand answers. And if the feedback from the car isn't sufficient, there's a problem. Judging from recent history, that problem could very well be Lance Stroll. His communication with race engineers has been less than professional, and let's not forget the moment he pushed a personal trainer after a disastrous qualifying session in Qatar in 2023. All signs point to Aston Martin preparing for a new era, one that might not include Lance. Whether we like it or not, Lance has been more of a liability in recent years, and his track record isn't exactly inspiring. The future of Lance Stroll in Formula One is uncertain. Alonso is back in form and scored his first points of the season in Barcelona. Adrian Newey has already been involved in developing the 2025 car, having been seen in the Aston Martin paddock during the Monaco Grand Prix. His influence on car development will be significant, but ultimately it's up to the drivers to extract performance from the machinery. In any case, Aston Martin is in a difficult position, and so is Lance Stroll. It's not like he lacks options. The Silverstone-based team also has a program in the World Endurance Championship, and there are reports he's already had a secret test in rallying. That discipline might suit him far better than Formula One, and perhaps it's time for both father and son to consider that path. It might be a bit smart not to force something purposefully when you know that you can't make your son a champion. The narrative from Aston Martin is loud and clear. We have a great lineup, and we're lucky to continue forward with drivers like Alonso and Stroll. I don't blame them for going the long way with a two-time world champion like Fernando. After all, he will continue as an ambassador for the team after his retirement, and he is clearly playing the long game here. But at a certain point, the nepotistic factor in the team needs to be addressed properly. If you are going to fight in both championships, especially with how the new regulations will bring all teams closer, you need two competitive drivers, not just for the constructor's success, but also for driver championship strategies and supporting your teammate when he needs you the most. This is one of the biggest flaws of Lance Stroll. As things stand, he would be in a very difficult position moving forward in the remainder of 2025. His behavior has been rather questionable, and at the end of the day, we need to talk about the lack of respect he has towards people who could be considered seniors in the team. Just because your father owns the team doesn't mean you get a free pass to do whatever you want without facing any consequences. On top of that, there's pressure from strategic partners that Aston Martin has to worry about. Let's start with Honda. The Japanese manufacturer has already stated they are going to be involved in driver lineup decisions, and that involvement will grow in proportion to the success their engines bring. The better the engine, the more influence they'll have. Of course, chasing after Verstappen is always going to be the number one priority, especially because Aston Martin now holds most of the winning formula Verstappen had during his golden days in 2022 and 2023, Newey and Honda. If Verstappen were to change environments, the Silverstone-based squad would definitely be near the top of his list. But we must not forget Yuki Tsunoda, a driver under the Honda Academy. Honda takes great care of their own, although truth be told, Tsunoda hasn't been very impressive at Red Bull so far.